Shalom, Kohalo Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Hashem Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us as truth. And shalom and salutations to all the brothers that push in word and truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. Elder brother Yahshua, I'm back with the WW3 Daily update on Monday. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, just a little, what's going on. So start right here at Revelation 8 and show you all three world wars in the Bible. Okay? Revelation 8 and 13. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe. World War I, II, and III. To the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels, which are yet to sound. This was before any of the world wars happened. You go to 9. This, from here to here, describes World War I. Okay? And in the interest of time, we won't go into it. World War I is past. And behold, there come two woes more hereafter. Right? So, from here to here describes number 1, World War I. And they said, okay, and here, World War I is past. And there come two woes more hereafter. Okay? Then you go from 9 to 11. And all that happened in between there, you get here. The second woe is past. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Okay? So never does it say, hey, the third woe is over. No, they describe the third woe. Right? They describe it perfectly in Joel. Okay? Just like they described one. Right? This is Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Okay? And the last battle, right? Battle of Armageddon. Let the heathen be weakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Basically, there's an ambush going on. Okay? All the nations, all the armies of all nations are being gathered together. Gather all nations and bring them into the ambush zone, the valley of Jehoshaphat, where Armageddon, the last battle, right? That's where the ambush is going to take place. All right? And there's your World War III. Okay? And he gives you the reasons why and for who, right? Why is he doing this? Why is the Most High doing this? For my people, for my heritage Israel. What you did to them. That payback got to come, all right? So anyway, let's get to the update, all right? Because the war is just going to escalate until everybody's in place, right? That's the Most High's plan. The Most High Yahweh Bahado, the Duran. They're basically, bringing you up to speed with what is going on over in Eastern Europe and Russia, Poland, and in Ukraine. So we'll listen to a little bit of this and we'll go ahead and close it out. Right?
All right, Alexander, let's do an update on Ukraine. And I think the big story to talk about is Bakhmut. The New York Times ran an article last week about the casualties in Bakhmut, Russian and Ukrainian. The interesting part is that they highlighted the Ukrainian casualties. which you don't usually get from the collective West mainstream media. So that is the big story, to be quite honest, is Bakhmut. I mean, there's fighting in all other areas, which you document well on your channel, but I think for this video, we should focus on Bakhmut.
Absolutely, I completely agree. By the way, that was an interesting article in the New York Times. There's also been an interesting article in the Daily Telegraph, by the way. Tries to take a more, shall we say, encouraging perspective of the fighting from the Ukrainian point of view. But it talked about how the fighting is similar to that in the First World War. It showed Ukrainian soldiers in trenches. It spoke about the Ukrainians suffering heavy casualties as well. And you can take it from both of these articles that things are not going well for Ukraine in Bakhmut. And in fact, over the last 24 hours, and I'm sure you've been picking up on this as well, there's been reports that a whole string of places in and around Bakhmut have been falling one after the other before the advance of, well, they always say the Wagner forces, but I gather that more Russian troops are now involved. Now, this battle for Bakhmut has been going on for 4 months. And there have been other times when it looks like we're getting close to its culmination. And it has turned out that, the Ukrainians have been able to throw in more troops. They've been able to hold the line. They've been able to keep some kind of communications open, something like that. And of course, it could be that they will pull off something again. But I have to say that the accumulation of evidence over the last 24 hours does suggest that we're now past the tipping point, that the situation of the Ukrainian forces in Bakhmut is now becoming.
Don't buy solar panels. Seriously.
Look here. Bear with me on the commercial. And boom.
Difficult to the point of being untenable, and that it's perhaps starting to look like, a progressive collapse of resistance there. And just to say, this is a huge battle. It's been going on, as I said, for 4 months. Casualties have been enormous, casualties that the Ukrainians have been suffering. All the reliable reports, including, of course, that one from the New York Times, have been confirming that the Ukrainian casualties have been extraordinarily high and disproportionately high, far higher than the Russian. And that suggests that this is seen by Ukraine, Bakhmut is seen by Ukraine as a linchpin in its defenses in Donbass. And I've seen some suggestions that Bakhmut in Donbass, in Donetsk region, is similar to Popasnaya. Do you remember Popasnaya in Lugansk region? When the Russians captured Popasnaya, the whole Ukrainian position in Lugansk progressively and quite rapidly started to collapse. We had eventually Severodonetsk and Lysychansk falling under Russian control, and this was all the direct product of the fall of Popasna. And it's been suggested to me that Bakhmut is the same, that if Bakhmut falls, we're going to start to see a progressive collapse of all the various Ukrainian positions in Donetsk region, which, if true, would mean the end, the effective end of the Battle of Donbass, the greater Battle of Donbass, which has been underway since May.
That's good enough. I'm kind of curious as to what they're going to say after. That's a big statement, because that's what the whole fight is about, really. Right after the installment of the puppet government, right? They really started pushing those Russians up out of that area and killing them and genociding them. And Vlad goes, look, we got to stop this, right? This was in 2013, 2014. And now here we are today. That's the reason for the military operation, whatever they're calling it, right? So Is it going to come to a conclusion? No. It's going to escalate even further. So whatever they're saying, the closer we get to the end of this thing or whatever, is the beginning of the larger war. Let's see what they say right after this.
Popasna took 2 months to capture, much smaller place than Bakhmut. Bakhmut's 4 months on. Perhaps we're close to that point now.
Is Bakhmut as significant as it was 4 months ago, or has it lost its significance?
I don't think it's lost its significance. I think it's every bit as significant now as it was 4 months ago. I mean, if you look at where it is, it's apparently the hub of the whole transportation network. Control of Bakhmut has enabled the Ukrainians to keep their various troops communicating with each other and supplied. And it's also the center of the sort of big remaining defense line, called, by the way, by some people, the Zelensky line, after Ukraine's president.
So basically, he's saying that when Bakhmut falls, that's it for the Ukrainians. Okay, and what happens then? Then the reinforcements come. Here come NATO. They'll lob something. They'll lob a micro nuke, or they'll destroy a bridge or something and blame it, and it absolutely must escalate. Okay, it's not going anywhere, right? But it's going to spread. How do all countries get involved in the fight in Eastern Europe? It's called NATO. Once NATO comes in, China comes in. Okay, and it just escalates. It's not gonna fizzle out, right? No peace and safety. All right, let's get that. Let's get peace and safety. And we'll close. Real simple scripture that tells you where this thing is going. 1 Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So, I mean, this is it. We're moving towards the end of the world as we know it, and then ushering in the kingdom of heaven. So, out with the old and with the new. That's the only way it can go down. So, with that, we hope that the elect were edified on Monday. We'll see you tomorrow, Tuesday. You brothers and few sisters, with that, shalom.